lean, buffeting more than 5 states in the United States of America. President Joe Biden, the Vice President Harris, and even the presidential candidate Trump, they are going to these states, commiserating with them, offering their help, providing welfare, providing humanitarian services. But in Nigeria, our own president purportedly is jetting away to enjoy himself in vacation. What do you call that? But you know what? I am going to say this because the media people are not doing this government any service. Rather than telling us the truth that he is unwell, because human beings can fall sick. When we were campaigning, we knew he was unwell. When I was in London, I heard they got him coming out from St. Mary's Hospital. Rather than telling the people the truth that he has gone on medical vacation, that he is unwell and has gone to examine himself in a hospital, so that at least you don't portray him as being insensitive, so that you don't portray him as enjoying while Nigeria is burning. They are saying he has jetted out to enjoy himself. What sane leader will go out to enjoy himself when more than 150 persons have died in a boat mishap? If that is true, then you cannot blame Governor Sim Fubara for saying that there is a need to build a psychiatric hospital to examine our leaders, because that's the only thing left to do. I will describe the situation in Rivers State as a state of madness, and I will describe the conduct as embarrassing. First and foremost, that a PDP will sabotage the government of PDP in Rivers State by purporting they are not going to partake in the election, in the local government election in Rivers State, tells you that PDP now, as presently constituted, is a party of abnormality. And that APC's government cannot do the right thing to encourage Rivers State to conduct its local government election, tells you that APC party, as presently constituted, is an apology. So these two parties have become unapologetically abnormal. And that is what is happening to the Nigerian state. Nigeria has become a nation that is unapologetically abnormal because of the influence of this PDAPC. I said it before that these two parties, they are the two heads of a monster, and we can see what is going on. Let us come into the issue of local government election. First and foremost, if you recall, the last regime of the local government in Rivers State, when their tenure ended, they wanted to extend their tenure through the instrumentality of the House of Assembly. And I was in support that it was illegal. And Governor Fubara wanted to use a caretaker committee to replace them. I was one of the lawyers that said this is illegal and that I do not support Governor Fubara to do that. And Governor Fubara can see that the Supreme Court cited some of us who said that the Constitution is clear on how the local government should be governed. Section 7(1) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, states the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is under this constitution guaranteed, and every state shall ensure its existence by a law which provides for its establishment, for the structure, for the composition, for the finance and functions. The key phrase is democratically elected. The key statement. Now, the Supreme Court that gave judgment based on the case that Tinubu took to court through his Attorney General, gave a judgment that no local government in Nigeria should be governed again by caretaker committee, and that elections must hold. And they put a punishment that any local government that does not comply, the allocation to that local government should be withdrawn. And after consultation, 90 days was agreed on. So 90 days from that judgment, not only that it is illegal, unlawful, but it attracts punishment that can make a local government and a state unviable. And Fubara marshaled out the state, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, to organize the local government election in accordance with the Supreme Court judgment, in accordance with the provision of Section 7. And then you're telling me that some politicians who are enemies of progress, enemies of Rivers State, enemies of Rivers people, are parading the judgment of a lower court to say you will frustrate the judgment of the Supreme Court. That is judicial recklessness. Let me give you an example. In the United States, the DOJ was prosecuting Donald Trump, a former president, for interrupting and trying to overthrow the election. The president went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court gave judgment that he has some immunities. Immediately the Supreme Court gave judgment, whether you like it or not. The whole system, the whole persons and authorities in the United States now started doing everything, including the DOJ, to make sure they conform with the Supreme Court judgment. Whenever the Supreme Court gives judgment, the only duty of lower courts, the only duty of any person or any authority in Nigeria, is to ensure that the Supreme Court judgment is enforced. So the courts ought to be giving orders of mandamus, compelling every party that is involved in election of Rivers State, which include INEC, because INEC must give the register to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, which includes the RESC, that is Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, which include the police, any person or any authority. What they should do or ought to have done is that they must do everything the law says they must do to comply with the order of the Supreme Court, which is that local government election must be held in Rivers State within 90 days. And so the IG of police, going against the judgment of Supreme Court, because he's parading the judgment of a high court, is a blasphemy. Now, let me give you an example. If the IGP of police gives an order and a police corporal disobeys it, and the IG summons the police corporal, and the police corporal stands in front of him and says, "Yes, sir, I disobeyed it because immediately you finished giving the order, the commissioner of police in my state gave a contrary order, and I decided to obey the order of the commissioner of police instead of your order." What do you think the IG should do to the policeman? Sack him. But that policeman, the corporal, has done exactly what the IG is doing. IG is purportedly saying he has an order of a high court, when the Supreme Court has given an order, and he's saying he has decided to obey the order of the high court instead of that of the Supreme Court. And what does that mean? The IGP should be fired. You know why? By going to Rivers State I'll tell you the laws he has breached. He has breached the policy of Tinubu's government, which is that every local government must hold election within 90 days. And IGP is there to frustrate the holding of the election. So he's even working against the policy of Tinubu's administration. It wasn't me that went to court. It was the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the Federation and on behalf of the President, who is in charge of the executive powers of the Federation. So the IGP is working against the policy of this government. 2, IGP went to Rivers State. He was standing on the land of Rivers State, not on federal land. He was standing on state agencies' land, not on federal agencies' land. The Land Use Act, Section 1, said every land in a state, every land comprised in a state, is vested in the governor of the state. And the state is holding it. And the state governor is holding it in trust for the people. Which law gives the IGP the right to go and stand on a state land in front of a state agency? Because the only exception is if the land is federal government land or federal agency, to give orders to a state governor. No, it is the state governor that should give orders to the IGP, because he is the chief security officer of the state. I don't know where the IGP got that power, but let me tell the IGP, unknowing to him, he has committed a judicial coup. The constitution is very clear. In section 1, subsection 2, he said, the government of Nigeria shall not be governed, nor shall any person or group of persons take over the control of the government of Nigeria or any part thereof in any manner except in accordance with the constitution. The constitution has already decreed that the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is guaranteed under the constitution. So if the IGP went to Rivers State in the negation of this provision, then he has become an accomplice to trying to assist people, to give them the power using the instrumentality of the state to make Rivers State to be governed or a part of it by people not in accordance with the constitution. So the IGP is now an accomplice to trying to commit judicial coup. And let me tell you, section 84, subsection 15 of the Electoral Act is very clear that nothing in this section or in the whole Electoral Act shall empower a court to stop the primary election or general election pending the determination of any suit. So where will the courts get the power to want to frustrate the election, local government election in Rivers State? You know what they want to do? They want to make the government of Governor Simfubara unviable. They want to make sure that the local government people in Rivers State and their people do not get their share, so that they will make it that he will have political problems with his people. And unfortunately, the IG of police is lending his voice to support this illegality and unlawfulness. Let me tell you, by IGP of police withdrawing the security from Rivers State, anybody that dies or is killed in that election because of that withdrawal, that will be a murder case against the IGP of police. I'll give you an example. Why is God holding David responsible for the death of Uriah? Did David physically kill Uriah? After committing adultery with the wife of Uriah, what David did was David set him up and he told his army, set this man up in front of battle, and when he's in front of battle, withdraw from him so that he will be killed. Who did God hold responsible for the murder of Uriah? It is David. because he's the one who withdrew the force after setting up Urea. IGP withdrew Nigerian police to set up Rivers State to go into flames. So whoever dies there, the blood is on the head of IGP of police. And that's what I keep saying, that any politician who is not willing to go the way of Governor Sim Fubara, to stand up to resist criminality, illegality, to stand up to say, if I perish, I perish, but I will do the right thing. I will stand for democracy, stand for rule of law, stand for my people, because they voted for me. Any politician who is not ready for that resistance and protest should step aside. What Governor Sim Fubara is doing is absolutely correct. He's resisting intimidation, manipulation. He's resisting people who want to take over Rivers State and the local government in a manner that the Constitution has not decreed. The same people that were shouting that Governor Fubara was governing Rivers State with caretaker committee are the same people that want to frustrate the election. That is how insincere liars operate in government. What they are fighting for is their pocket. It is their positions and power, not the people. And the people must rise up to defend themselves from these leaders. So what Governor Sim Fubara did and is doing is in order, and I support it. What the IGP of police has done is illegal, is ungodly, is criminal. He should apologize to the people of Rivers State, and he must make sure that not even one hair of anybody in Rivers State falls to the ground, because